Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Midleton Live, coming to you from the cathedral with the special bongs for us today. So we're going to have the 12 bongs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Better come in here and give me a hand, Peter. Give me a bong there, will you? 4.
There we go.
5, 6, 7. They're slow, aren't they? 7, 8, 9,
Do it. 40, I'd say.
Because they weren't working, you see. There, 10, okay, yeah. 2 more. 10, 11, 12. Give us that 12. There you are, folks, that's the 12 bongs. And we have done this here before. That's 13. Are you sure? Was that 13? 14. It's broken. 15. 16. 17. 18. It's the 18 bongs today. It's called the 18 bong show.
I think they're just getting...
Phones are coming in. Megan, big shout out to you for introducing the show.
Hello.
And it's the 14 bongs we have today, or is it 17? Amazing. We're coming to association with Mullingar Tidy Towns, and as you know from yesterday's post, we had Bill Collentine on, and he's from the Mullingar Tidy Towns, and they have put us in for Pride of Place. So it's going to be on the 9th of September. So if you want to do something around the town, contact Tidy Towns Mullingar, and they might be able to help you out in some shape or form to make your place beautiful. We have the 12 bongs, but it's a bigger bong today, folks, and a big shout out to Oliver Flanagan, who has won 7 winning cards with his amazing eggs and wildfowl in Virginia's show yesterday, so a big shout out to you as well. And yes indeed, to all the kids who are heading back to school today on a new chapter of your school and life, we wish you the very, very best indeed. And someone told me that I think the results of a lot of exams are out today as well. So we have Peter here. Peter here. Hello Peter, how's it going?
Not bad at all.
This is Peter,
and
Peter's just after joining us, and he came, they're on a tour at the moment. Tell us a little bit about the tour, Peter.
I suppose the tour is, we're based in East Cork, down in Midleton, and we have a unit down there where we started up about 3 years ago. It's based on, I suppose, mental awareness and stuff.
Very good.
More so, what Bunny's doing is to bring awareness for suicide and suicide bereavement and stuff.
Very hard thing to talk about and a very hard thing to get across.
Yeah. I suppose like he went through his own trials and tribulations, and from that he seems to think that it's something that's not dealt with very well, especially down our way. You know, he'll go on about that more himself. Yeah.
Now he's on the way, because he's on the motorbike.
He's on the way. He's in Mullingar, Cockland, 1 or 2 traffic lights, they just told me.
We've a few traffic lights in Mullingar.
So yeah, I said he might just put the boot down there and get there as fast as he can for us.
But so the story is that he's on this motorbike. It's a 250 or
it's an RD250.
Yeah.
It was a bike that was going to be a present for his son. Unfortunately, he passed in 09 from suicide. So the bike never got to
2009. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21.
No,
19,
12,
10. Say it again?
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Jenny God.
So so he restored the bike. You know, we all get, friends and stuff got together. We restored the bike, and again, to something that he'll explain to you afterwards himself.
Yeah.
But it seemed to be it's like a mascot or a catalyst for what we're doing. So what he decided to do was to take it around the country. So we're doing 32 counties in 32 days.
Now this is not an easy thing because there's 2 vans involved. You have
vans,
some
a
pull-ups.
car. Yeah.
You have cars. There's 5 people on the trip.
There's 5 people. Yeah. The minimum is 5. Other people from the club are coming up supporting us as we go along as well.
And so where do you stay? Do you sleep in the van?
No, we've been getting fantastic response from anyone in every town that have, that we encounter with.
Yeah.
People are putting us up, sorting out. Like last night now, we stayed in Edgeworthstown.
Brilliant.
The people there got us accommodation and everything and supplied us with that.
And that's 5 crew, yeah?
Yeah. So it's a fantastic response from people. They're really, and I suppose before we set off, we weren't sure how we were going to be received.
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable.
Well, I think things have changed in the last few years, and people are a lot more, what would you say, open to a lot more things.
I'm just hearing an RD250.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that,
yeah?
Yeah. So he's on his way on the bike here, and
anyone that knows anything about a motorbike will hear the familiar sound of an RD.
Come on in here. Hello.
Money.
There he is, folks. As he looks like on his RD250. Brilliant. And what a beautiful bike you have there, sir. Good man.
We got here finally.
We're all here and all in one piece. And great to have you on board on your RD250 LC. And tell me, how old is that bike, sir?
She's 1981.
Come around here, we get the sun in your face, because you probably have your sun in the face the whole time.
Most of the time.
Yeah, and Bunny, it's a pleasure to meet you.
And you too.
And thank you very much for taking time to say hello to us on your trip.
It's been my pleasure.
How many places have you covered so far?
What day are we on?
Yeah, who am I? What day is it? Yeah. I know, because every day seems to be the same day,
Just going day after day after day, because we've never had a break.
Wow.
And like from we set off on the 1st of August.
Yeah.
We've hit a county a day.
Right.
Every single day all the way through.
Absolutely.
Now, I get lost in the counties. I don't even know where I am anymore.
Yeah.
And that may sound flippant and whatever, but it's the truth. Whatever way my brain is kind of processed, we'll just keep going all the time.
Yeah, and the idea is to get to the end, really, more than anything else.
Absolutely.
And you're heading back for Cork now again.
Correct.
So, as I say, you're not too sure of where you are or what day it is, but do you know how many counties you've travelled?
I think about 25.
25 has gone by, so that's 25. You've a good few to go yet.
We have. I think 7 is there or something to get home now.
7
after. Yeah, 7 after today. So the thing is, the plan is to be home tomorrow week.
Brilliant.
Back into Midleton tomorrow week.
Tomorrow week. And how have you been received and how has it gone?
We've been received, I suppose we've had the most amazing experiences from people all the way through. People have been so good to us.
Yeah.
At every level and at so many different places. We've been through a lot of family resort centres, we've been through crisis centres, we've been with police stations, we have been with people who've come up and just shared their own tragic stories, maybe what they've experienced in their own life, you know.
It's a hard thing to talk about for a lot of people to say, well, he passed or he passed away. Now, Philip was just saying he passed away from suicide. I know it's a very hard thing to say, but it's an important thing to say as well, because it gets the point across. And as you see by your motorbike here, it's Cian. It's his bike, and it was. You were going to give it to him on his 18th birthday. Do you have other kids?
Yeah, I have 2 other kids as well.
Are they older or younger?
So he was in the middle.
Ah.
So that's it. But yeah, that was it. It was destined for him for his 18th birthday. I made that promise to him. He had driven it a few times.
Yeah.
And he'd been driving bikes since he was 6 years of age. He was amazing. He was a great pilot.
Wow.
He used to do a little bit of motocross, and so he was an exceptionally good rider. And so one day we were down at my sister's. I had my bike stored down at my sister's house, and we were down there, and I just took out the bike, and we were just doing a few jobs. He was obviously 17. Gave him a spin off it, and I came back. When he came back, what I identified with Cian was he had that smile from ear to ear.
Right.
And that was what I identified with when I was 17 and I drove one of them.
Correct.
So when he came back, and I just said to him, would you like that for your 18th? And he just was serious. And I said, yeah, why wouldn't I? So I said, I'll give it to you for your 18th. So we do it up and we'd have it ready, and you know, unfortunately he didn't make it. He was 17 and a half when he passed, and the bike then stayed in my apartment for 7 years. In actual fact, for a year it was just kind of knocking around the place. I didn't know what to do with it, and then I brought it up into the apartment. I had it there for 7 years, and kind of one day I was saying, look, we have to do something with it, you know. So I got on to my friends and my family, and we all became keen enthusiasts on bikes. And I said, look, I think I feel strong enough and ready enough to commit to doing the bike up, and we restore the bike.
Yeah.
So I was involved in another project in Cork City and up in Shandon Street. So we had the bike up there at that point. A crew of us went at it in 1 September, and we ran it for about a year. And this is what we did. This is what we came back with. The whole thing was done from head to toe. But the magic was, and that was it. We kind of realised there was a magic in it. And we realised there was a magic that maybe we could use this to work towards mental health and kind of emotional well-being in a safe area, you know. So that's what we began working on. And so the Midleton HUB finally evolved from all of that. And we found that, I certainly found, number one, I needed a safe place where people didn't have expectations of me.
For yourself, especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the beginning.
Yeah. And I suppose number two, I found that the stuff that was missing from me in the process that wasn't available, maybe we could do something to help fill in all those little areas along the way. Primarily it was about being safe. People not having expectations of me, or if I come in on a night with a lot of things to do and choose to do nothing, you're always going to be on my case.
Yeah.
And that's really what it grew from. And we have grown to a place where maybe we don't hold records of anybody. It's a drop-in centre.
Yeah.
We open 3 nights a week, and we also open on a Sunday. And that anybody can walk in off the street. The only thing they're asked is what's their name and draw a cup of coffee. That's ultimately what they're asked. If it suits people, they can stay, come back, and if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately.
And has many people gone through so far? I mean, I know that you're creating funds to do it up to a sort of a stylish setting, or more of a better facility. You're looking for get 100,000, which is a big goal. But I mean, if you put that goal out in front of you, you're going to get there. I was talking to Helen, and she was saying to me that you were chatting to a man in Belfast who gave you a bit of vision and a bit of direction to say, you know, you can do it. Like,
absolutely. We believed when it was unbelievable.
You what?
We believed when it was unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
And the night I met the landlord for the premises that we have, and he's the most amazing man. And we got talking, and we got down, and after a couple of minutes, and he said, do you have any money? I said, we haven't a bob. And he just erupted into laughter, just like you're doing now. And we negotiated a deal on the building. And the thing is, it's been that way all the way through. So we've come through a lot of stuff that has never seemed tangible. And it just always works out. Every single time, without exception, it works out. We would also be aiming towards running some educational courses from the premises. And we've been sanctioned by the ETB with grants to run various courses as well. However, the building is not up to scratch.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, is get the building up to scratch. But also we would have what you call it,
I feel like I've been surrounded here.
Yeah, you are. There's a van behind you.
There's bikes coming in from all angles.
Everything coming. I'll tell you something. They're like the cowboys and the Indians coming in. We're honing in on you, you know.
Brilliant.
But we also would have, and the aim would be to have kind of an emergency therapy room as well for people that would be in crisis. So
yes.
On the board below, there's 2 psychotherapists as well.
Wow.
So we would actually have access to that as an emergency crisis level intervention. But the plan would be to move on to, I always get drawn to bikes, it doesn't really matter where I am. But we would be in a position to kind of, just at a crisis level, deal with someone who might be in a poor place and maybe hold them for a little while. And I suppose another thing that kind of has come to light as well. So for the services that are there in existence,
yeah,
while people are waiting, where do they go?
Yeah.
What's there to hold them? You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we actually hold them, are in a position to hold people in a safe place, in a safe arena, and as I say, if it's working for them, they can stay there until their relative service is available for them.
A little bit about your own story. Now, it's I think is it 10 years or 9 years since your son passed away?
2009 is actually 13 years this year.
It's 13 years, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Because at that stage, I mean, that's 13 years ago. What happened to you after that? I mean, did you go into denial for a year or two after it, or?
I never went into denial, not for 1 second.
Or into, where did you go?
I went into a very poor place.
Yeah.
And within a year of it, I began on a journey of personal development in a course in Cork City. And I fought all the way to going there, but it was suggested to me by my own therapist at the time that I was attending.
Yeah.
And while doing so, I ended up doing 4 courses there. And I continued. I'd never ceased, actually. I've been in college every single year.
Well done.
Since 2010. I've never ceased to keep working on myself. And there was some times it was very dark, very, very, very dark. And, you know, there was times I would have wished in my own life that I wasn't on this planet.
Yeah.
And the wonderful
them decisions were there as right, yeah.
They were always there.
Yeah.
But the beauty is that along the way, I kind of hung in there and I met some of the most amazing people that have actually supported. And maybe it was from that I felt, and again, remember, it was nearly 7 years into it before I did anything with the bike.
Yeah.
The bike just became a catalyst.
Yeah.
That's what it did. The bike became a catalyst to do something good. You know, it'll always be that way. It's a beautiful thing to be able to ride it around the country. The bike has actually gone magnificently. Remember, that's 41 years old.
My God.
We have just asked
41.
We've just asked it, and currently we're on 1,900 miles since we left Cork.
Right.
And I would anticipate by the time we're home, we'll be up around just under 3,000 miles on the bike. So we've asked a 41-year-old bike that had 9,000 miles on the clock,
right.
40 years. We've asked it to do another 30 or 40% of that in the space of 32 days. So it's actually, there's something guiding this all the time.
Totally, and there's an energy there somewhere that's moving you on. Going back to the Yamaha, I mean, the Yamaha, I was big into bikes years and years ago as well, and there was names on the bikes then, and then it changed to RD250. Now, it moved on, and then it became different names again. But I always remember getting a spin. I could have been on a bike. There was a yellow one of them at one stage, was there? Would you believe it? Wow. And so I was outside the pub. We have a pub in Mullingar here, Dolan's, and a guy came down, and he was a chef in Broders at the time, and he was driving, my God, I can't believe it, and he was driving the same bike as this, and he brought me up the street, and I held on to him as if life was going to pass me by, and he opened her up, boom, the whole way up the street, and drove me back. And talk about a buzz. I felt like your son. Face is wide open, smiling, going, wow, that's some excitement and some lift. From then on, I sort of had bits and pieces of bikes, but I never got into a bike. You know, I had a few rows with my father and that over collecting someone else's bike.
As happens.
And I was just bringing it home, but the engine was red raw after 3 weeks. I was up and down the country on it, which was not a great idea, but we do these things, and you probably have done all these things yourself through your early life as well, and the excitement of motorbikes is just amazing for if they really get on it. What type of bike do you have yourself?
I drive a GS 1200 BMW, and it's a Victoria bike, and so I was kind of lads were asking me what am I going to do when I go home. Well, home on the Friday, my plan is to get on my own bike and go for a spin on Saturday.
Right, yeah. And remember what it was like. Because with that bike, we could hear it coming up the street, and Philip says, yeah, we heard it there, that he's on the way. And you're going, sounds like a small engine. But it seems to be a great engine, like.
They're quick, they're rapid. I mean, you must remember the name of that is RD. RD is race developed.
Race developed, right.
That's where it originates from.
Amazing.
So they're in their day, I mean, these were, and they're actually affectionately known as the Widowmaker.
All right.
Also, they were wicked fast, wicked fast, you know. So, and that's what, back in the 80s, I suppose, when I originally bought the bike, I bought it from my own recollection, my own nostalgia. You see, I bought it myself originally.
Ah,
I had the bike.
right,
I had the bike a number of years, but I had it locked away.
right.
And then when that day when Cian came down to me, we took it for a spin, and I gave it for a spin.
Did you need to do much with the bike?
It was actually mechanically quite good and quite serviceable.
Yeah.
And what we did was we stripped every component down, bar the engine. The engine was actually superb, and the mileage was actually very low on that bike. So we did everything. We upgraded everything: shocks, bearings, throughout the whole lot, tires, tubes. Everything was down to complete nut and bolts rebuild, whole respray, and cables, and brakes, and suspension. And so we did everything. Anything that had to be done, we did.
Right. And are you involved in clubs down in Cork or what?
No, I'm not really a club man.
Right,
I suppose that was one of the things that kind of came up in the project, was we were kind of being misunderstood for what we represented.
Yeah, could happen all easily.
Thought we were kind of bike club.
Yeah.
And we're actually the furthest thing there is from bike club. We're really a community project.
Yeah.
Which means that we're all inclusive for anybody that wants to come in. So we felt that there was people that were avoiding coming in because they didn't understand what we were and what we were about. So when we kind of put the name on the Midleton HUB, we actually originally started as the Midleton Bike Project.
Right.
So we rebranded back in June to the Midleton HUB, and which was much more appropriate for what we're doing. And when that happened, it just opened the doors to many more people who now began to understand what it is we really do. So, and that was it. So I think it was Groucho Marx that said he never wanted to be part of any club that would have him. I'm a bit like that. You know, we do our own thing.
What's after happening is you have become a leader of your own gang.
Yeah, but you see, the beauty is we've a board, and everything is structured right, everything is manified, everything's above board. It's so wonderful to know that we're working in a structure like that. And I'd love to really emphasise one of the main characteristics of what it is we do.
Yeah.
The people who are left behind. There's lots of people left behind, and there's very few services for the people left behind. And if you can imagine the impact on the number of people that are left behind as a result of suicide. And also remember, we're dealing with something that's quite unnatural. Suicide by its very nature is unnatural. It goes against the grain of humanity. We're not designed as people to actually be able to cope with the grief of that loss, because it was never intended in the first place. So it's a very difficult, trying place to be in the aftermath of a suicide. And lots of people get left behind. Lots of people get left behind to try to cope with this on their own, without supports. And I suppose we try to offer supports, and that's really what we're trying to do.
Amazing, and fair play to you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Helen says when I meet you, you'll know the man when you meet him. And absolutely, you're a legend, and really, I'm delighted to chat to you, and the best of luck. So, as I say, the most important thing, folks, out there is these boys are doing this spin, but especially for it's Cian, but as well as that, to create funds to build this magnificent centre in Midleton, which probably is under severe pressure down in Cork with a lot of suicide. And probably that end of the country is getting it, but every end of the country is getting it. And it's sort of a quiet thing that just disappears. Oh, passed away.
Get left behind.
Passed away. Now, I know a lot of people who have committed suicide, and people who were quite close, and close but not close, and they disappeared, and you're going, wow, geez, I never thought he'd do that, or she'd do that, or whatever. And that fear and that pain comes into you. Now, I'm just on the outside, you could say. I'm not a family member or whatever, but still was a friend, and you're thinking, is there any time we met them in great form, or they were always up and buzzing, and, you know, could I have done something, or could you have helped in any way? The whole idea with suicide, they make a decision, and they're on the way, and they're on the way. But as you said, for the people who are left behind, and that's what this is all about. And they're down in Midleton, folks, and if you're ever passing through Midleton, you probably can get in contact with them. If you see them on the road, this is the motorbike, this is the man, and this is the crew. So we've a load of crew as well here, so I'll just take my phone out here, and as you can see, we're at the cathedral, which I think is the right spot. We've got a couple of bongs, we've got our bus in position, we've got the motorbike, there it is, the RD. We have two bikers keep an eye on the rest of us, and then they have, they're after getting the loan of a bus, or the van. Where'd you get that van?
It's our own van that we've had signed with before. We have two vans actually. We have one that's been donated
Brilliant.
Might be worth turning around here.
Yeah, we can get that sign written. I can get that one in the background. It's just a little bit too far, but not to worry, lads. Look, thank you very much for being on board and give us your time, folks. And great to know that this man is a legend, and all his crew are as well. And a lot more needs to be done in the area of prevention and bereavement of suicide in this country. And here's one of the leaders here at the moment. So look, thanks for looking in. Thanks for joining us. And there's the motorbike. So if you see him on the motorbike, give him a beep or throw a fiver at him or something like that. Right, folks, bye for now. And from all the crew, thank you very much.